Hey guys, Mr. Walker here. Thank you for joining me yet again for another math lesson, and you'll never guess what we're going to be talking about today. That's right, we're going to be talking about the life cycle of butterflies. Okay, just joking. We're going to be talking about rounding again. So in a previous lesson, we worked a little bit with rounding, and we used a vertical number line to help us out, right? To kind of see a starting number and an ending number and finding that midpoint, the halfway point, remember? And then we used that to help us determine whether we were going to round up or round down. Just to review real quick, rounding means to make like an estimate of a number, right? To make the number a little bit easier to work with, we're going to round it to a place value, and it kind of gives us like an estimate and an approximation for that number, right? So let's continue to build our understanding of rounding and even work on seeing how rounding can help us do some problem solving. So if you have your place value chart handy, you might want to have that out. Maybe have a piece of paper or your dry erase sleeve, something to write on and write with as we work along together. So make sure you got that stuff all gathered up, and then I'll meet you back here and we'll keep going. All right, well, you guys are gathering up materials. I went ahead and wrote a number up here of 72,744. So that's the number that we're going to be working on or working with in our first example for rounding. I also drew myself a vertical number line that I'm going to use to help me when I round. So we're going to round this number to the nearest 10,000. So I'm going to write that so I remember. And if I look at this number, my 10,000s place is right here. If you needed to put that in your place value chart and map it out to be able to see it a little bit easier, please feel free to do so. We can use any of those scaffolds or any of those things to help us out if we need them. But if I look at my 10,000s place here, how many 10,000s do I have? How many 10,000s are in this number? That's right, there are 7 10,000s. So my lowest point here on my number line is going to be 70,000. Okay, so that's going to be my bottom point because I have 7 10,000s, and 7 10,000s is the same as 70,000. So what's 10,000 more than 70,000? That's going to be my high point, right? 10,000 more than 70,000 is 80,000. So you might be thinking to yourself right now, Mr. Walker, why did you choose to do 10,000 more? Why is that our high point here? Well, again, because we're rounding to the nearest 10,000s place, that's what I'm going to count up by. That's what's going to give me that like gap in between, okay? So we start with the low end, which is what our 10,000s place value is worth. We start there, and then we count up an additional 10,000 to give us our end point, all right? So one more thing we got to put on this number line at least, on this vertical number line to help us out, and that's that halfway point, that midpoint, right? So think about that for a second with some of the work we've done in some previous lessons. What is the halfway point between 70,000 and 80,000? Well, again, to find that halfway point, I want to think, okay, well, there's basically 10 steps between my low point and my high point. So this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, 10 steps. So if we were thinking about this as, and I encourage you not to have to write this in every time. You can hopefully start to visualize this and kind of remember when we were talking about fives too. There's always going to be a 5 involved in there most of the time. But I can, if I need to, I could do 71,000, 72,000, 73,000, 74,000, 75,000, 76, 77, 78, 79, and then 80,000. So that halfway point in between would be this guy right here, 75,000. That's our halfway point. If you need to label these to help you to see that, that's fine, but just start thinking that 5 is going to be in the middle. So you just have to think, well, if this is 70,000, this is 80,000, so it's going to be 75,000, okay? That's going to be my middle point there. If you keep that in mind, most of the time that's going to work out for you just fine. So there's our midpoint, but our number that we're looking to round is 72,744. So where on the number line do you think that's going to fall? Where's my 72,744 going to fall on this vertical number line here? All right, I heard some good guesses. I think. My hearing's starting to get a little bit better through the computer, so we'll see how it's going. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to move my marker up and down this vertical number line, and you tell me where to stop. You tell me where you think this number would fall, 72,744. So start here at the bottom. All right, that one was a little faint, but I'm thinking most of you said right around here somewhere. So we know 72,000's here, so it's going to be a little more than that. So 70, well, I'd say right around in there, okay? That's just an estimate. Doesn't have to be perfect because we can look at this now, just visually look at it, and where is that dot closer to? Where is that number closer to? Is it closer to our 70,000 or is it closer to our 80,000? Remember, we're rounding to the 10,000s place, so that's what we're looking for. Is it closer to the 70,000 or the 80,000? You're absolutely correct. It's closer to the 70,000. So 72,744 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is going to give us 70,000. We're rounding this one down because it's not at the midway point or higher. So we're going to round them down to 70,000. All right, let's try one more example real quick. I'm going to do, so read that number aloud real quick. Awesome, 337,000, that's our thousands period, 337,601. So that's our number, and we're going to round this number to the nearest 10,000. Okay, now this is going to be a little bit different than some of our other examples because we're not looking at our first number this time. We're looking at our 10,000s place, right? Which falls right there. So for the most part, we don't have to worry about this guy. Now, not saying that that's always going to be the case, but at least in this case, we're not going to have to worry about the first one. We're looking for the nearest 10,000. That's the number we're going to change based on where it falls on the vertical number line, okay? So let me go ahead and draw myself a vertical number line. Not the straightest one in the world, but that's okay. Gets the point across. So we're rounding to the 10,000s. That's what it says here, rounding to the 10,000s. So how many 10,000s do I have in this number? 3. I have 3 10,000s. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my initial 3, my 300,000s that I have. So I'm going to have 330,000. That's going to be my low point, okay? Because I'm going to keep that 3 because I have my 3 10,000s. Everything else I'm going to change the zeros because that's going to be the lowest point on my vertical number line. So now I have to think, what is 1 10,000 more than that? And we did this on a previous lesson where we were able to add 1,000 or add 100 or add 10,000, things like that. So this is something that we've done before. So if I was going to add 1 10,000 to this, I have 3 10,000s right now. If I was going to add 1 10,000 to it, that would give me what? 4, right? I would have 4 10,000s. So I would still have 300,000s, 4 10,000s, and everything else would be the zeros. So my low point here is going to be 330,000. My high point is going to be 340,000. Got to find that midway point though, right? Where's the spot in the middle? The spot in the middle is going to be 335,000. So you might be thinking to yourself, all right, well, why isn't it 35 or 350,000? Why is the 5 afterwards? Well, because we're starting at 330, so counting up to 340 would be 331, 332, 333, 334, 335 would be our midpoint, and then all the way up to 40. 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. So that's why 35 is our midpoint, okay? Hopefully this is starting to click and sink in a little bit. I know I'm moving a little bit faster, but this is the second lesson that we've kind of done on this, so hopefully things are starting to come together. If not, that's totally fine too. Reach out to me, let me know, or reach out to your teacher, your learning guide, whoever it is. I'm sure somebody would be more than happy to help you. It's okay if it's not sinking in right away. This can be a trickier concept. Okay, so I have my low point, have my midpoint, my halfway point, and I have my my top point there. And I'm rounding to the nearest 10,000, and I have 337,000. So where is that going to sit on my vertical number line? Take a guess. So just think about it for a second. You can even draw yours in on your vertical number line if you have it on your sheet, and then we'll discuss it together in a second. So again, as we said, 335,000 is our midway point. I have 337,601, but I'm more concerned about the 337,000. So 36 would be right about here. 337 would probably fall right around there somewhere. Okay, so 337,601. Wrote my comma backwards. Get the idea. It's going to fall somewhere in there. So is it closer to 330,000 or is it closer to 340,000? Where would this guy fall on our vertical number line? Which end point is he closer to? Perfect. He's closer to the 340,000. He's above 335, so we're going to round up, which means 337,601 rounded to the nearest 10,000 is going to be 340,000. Okay, so our 100,000 stayed the same because that's not where we were rounding to. We were rounding to the 10,000. 10,000 is the one that ended up changing. We rounded him up because we were above that 5, that halfway point there. Still with me? I hope so. Okay, we're going to take a look at another example real quick, so make sure you have your paper and everything ready to go. All right, so who wants to round to the nearest 100,000? We haven't done this yet, the nearest 100,000. If you're with me, you want to round, let me hear it. All right, I think I got everybody except for that one guy in the back. Come on, man, join us. You can have fun with this. 100,000, it's a piece of cake. All right, so we're going to round to the nearest 100,000. Here's our number that we're going to work with. We're going to be doing 749. Okay, it's a 6-digit number. It's a big number. This is our thousands period, right? So we have 749,085. Okay, big number. We did a 6-digit number before, but now we're going to be rounding to the 100,000s place. So the 100,000s is this guy way out here, right? Ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000. So our 7 is going to be the number that we're going to be changing. Okay, so we're going to have to find our low point, our high point, our halfway point, and then we can use that to help us round. So how many 100,000s do we have in our number? Right, 7. So I'm going to say 700,000s. Perfect. And since we're rounding to the 100,000s place, we're going to count by 100,000. So what is 100,000 more than 700,000? 800,000. Got it. Beautiful. You guys are good. So knowing our low point, knowing our high point, where's the middle? Where are we going to find the middle of these two numbers to help us round? Again, as we've seen in the past, it's going to have something to do with the 5, right? So if I was counting up from 700,000 to 800,000, I'd have 710,000, 720,000, 730,000, 740,000, 750,000, 760,000, 770,000, 780,000, 790,000, 800, right? That's a lot of numbers to think. But more importantly, I could just kind of think of that 5. So it's going to be 750,000. So that's our halfway point, low and mid, so we're good to go. The next thing we have to do is we have to find out where this guy is going to fall on our vertical number line. So if I was going to draw these in, so this would be 71, 72, 73, 74, we have our 75, 76, 77, 78, 79. So this is 740,000. We have 749,000. So really that's going to be like right here, okay? Not quite to 750,000, but it's pretty close. 749,085. So even though that number is so close to our middle point, it's not at our middle point and it's not above it. So we're going to have to round down. That guy's like ran the whole marathon and he's like an inch away from the finish line, but he didn't finish, right? He didn't get there, so it doesn't count. I know it's sad. But we're going to round this guy down to our 70,000. So 749,085 rounded to the nearest 100,000 is going to be 700,000. That's a tough one, but we made it through. Even as close as he was, we're still going to round him down because he wasn't at or above that halfway point. So hopefully this is starting to click and make sense. And you might be thinking to yourself, Mr. Walker, we've done a lot of rounding. You're making us do a ton of examples. What good can this possibly ever do me? All right, why do I need to learn about rounding? Well, First of all, you can learn about rounding because you can always get that cool song stuck in your head anytime you think of rounding. Probably not as much fun as I make it out to be, but the second thing is we can use this to help us estimate answers to problems. What that means is if we have a problem we have to solve, whether it's addition or subtraction or something like that, we can round our numbers to get us good estimates, right? We can round them to get good estimates, and then we can subtract or add or whatever we need to do with these simpler numbers to get like a quick guess or a quick estimate as to what our actual answer will be. And it'll help to let us know that we're on track or that we're off track. I know myself personally, and I'm sure family members and brothers, sisters, even yourself, you probably do this too, but I estimate a lot like at the grocery store or at Target or something like that. When you're buying something, and if something is $14.99, well, I'm going to round that up to 15, right? Because it's better to overestimate in that case to make sure you have enough money to cover it, especially with tax and things like that. But you use rounding to kind of guess and get close to where you need to be without being exact, because sometimes it's hard to do that exact math in your head, but working with really easy numbers like this makes doing the work in your head a lot easier. So if you can hang in there with me, we're going to do two quick examples of how we can use rounding to help us when we're problem solving to get us good estimates to make sure that we're on the right track.